Today we celebrate the feast of Saint Therese of Lisieux. She is the co-patroness of missionaries, which is really interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, she died at the age 24 and never left her convent, and yet she's the patroness of missionaries. She's the co-patroness. I believe the other counterpart is St. Francis Xavier, who baptized thousands of kids in missionary lands. What I think is interesting about that in relation to our gospel today is Jesus sends them out 2 by 2. It works together, going out missionary work, doing it together. But I think that works for us in a particular way in our own hearts, and why St. Therese and St. Francis Xavier are so important. First of all, we think of the active side of things, right? The missionary side of things, going out and doing the work. That's great, but it should always and necessarily be founded on the spiritual life, which is what St. Therese represents. That deep, intimate relationship with the Holy Trinity. Those are the two components that are really necessary, at least in our own lives when we can't go out 2 by 2. We need that activism or that activeness as well as that deep contemplative life that St. Therese represents as well. So what does she offer us? What is so unique about St. Therese? I think there's so many things you could say about her that are inspiring and encouraging for us today. But I think the most notable is her contribution to spiritual revelation, if you will. It's known as her little way. St. Therese's little way. This is what she's most famous for. I think we mentioned it in the opening collect this morning. Her little way. What is her little way? I think it's most oftenly misinterpreted as doing little things with great love. She said that and she modeled it. So if you got to bend over and pick up a pen to put back on the table, you do it with the greatest love you can do it. That is beautiful and it makes perfect sense, but that is not her little way. Her little way is knowing that she is, first of all, a child of God, that God is her Father. That's the little way. She knows it undoubtedly. She runs and has fun knowing that God is her Father and the most perfect of fathers and will never abandon her. That's the little way. That's the little way we're all called to emulate. How does that look in our lives? I know what it looks like in mine. I think it's kind of universal. But I'm a son before I'm a father. That's the little way in my life. You're a daughter before you're a mother. That's foundational. Our baptism is the most foundational reality of any vocation we're called to. That I am a child of God, a beloved child of God. That's the little way. That's the most foundational reality of our entire lives. All missionary work outside of that, apart from that, is just crazy activism. If we're not operating out of that little way, that knowledge that we are God's beloved sons and daughters, well, I don't know what kind of work we're doing. We need to have that deep contemplative life. We need to have both the contemplative and the active life. That's why these two patronesses work so well together, St. Francis and St. Therese. So may we emulate her little way. May we truly be sons and daughters before we're ever mothers or fathers, so that it may be God doing his work, but that we may be just run and love and have fun as kids. That's what we're called to do. That's what St. Therese offers us in her little way.